Have you got your microphone on?
Not while I'm eating the cake.
Okay. Does the shot look quite nice, apart from the big crack in the wall? Ignore the crack in the wall.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the second PipsCast.
Hello, thanks for joining us on our second PipsCast, which is the idea of these videos, if you haven't seen one before, is that they're based on a podcast, so there'll be no editing, no cutting in of anything. It'll just be us having a chat with you guys, and hopefully you'll enjoy it.
Yep.
So here we go. So we're just waiting for Max to get out of the way because he's having a bit of a struggle of all the cables and everything now. Come here, Max. Come here. So what are we going to talk about today then?
He's going to knock everything flying.
He is. Do you want to just let him through? And then I can move this out the way.
That's it. Go on then. Good lad.
Good lad. Okay. We okay there still?
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing that struck me sort of last week was just how, they say life is slower paced here. In Portugal, in Spain, mañana. And that really sort of struck a chord with me this week. I think because so many things took so long and are still taking a long time. So, yeah.
It's kind of like they're saying you have to embrace that, don't they?
Absolutely, yes.
Before you come to Portugal, they say you have to embrace the bureaucracy is one of the things people mention quite a lot when you talk to them. It just takes a long time. And things just generally take a long time. And I think the thing is, as well, is that we haven't got used to that to a certain degree.
I think we're still sort of in holiday mode or trying to slow down mode.
I think we're trying to slow down, but what we're doing is we're going shopping at the time. And I say shopping, we're going to get bits and bobs for the house. We're going shopping at the time where everybody closes down for lunch for 2 hours.
Yes, we're not quite getting.
We haven't got the 2 hour lunch break.
And stuff right.
Yeah.
So we're slowing down. We're having a nice slow morning. We're getting out when everybody else has done half a day's work.
Yeah. And we're turning up when they go for their lunch, and then we had to wait. Like we got some windows the other day.
Yeah.
And we had to wait. I don't know how long we had to wait in the end. I think. Whoa. Just a bit of a wind there, sorry. That was the wind blowing in. So as I was going to say before that.
Yes.
So we ordered some windows. I think it was
some glass to get cut for the windows. Yeah. Yes.
We ordered some glass, and I think it was about 12:30 we turned up, which is just when he was going on his lunch. And then he wrote that he would be back at 1. He wrote 1H30. So I thought, okay, he's having from 12:30 till 1:30 would be his lunch break, so I should come back at 1:30. So it was 1H30. We got back at 1H30, 1 hour 30, and he wasn't there. We waited for another 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Then we decided, I'll tell you what, we'll go and get a coffee. And then when we realised afterwards, he hadn't written 1H30, he'd written 1:30. So he was actually coming back at 2:30, not the 1:30. Yeah. Hope that makes sense. So it was 14:30 that he was coming back.
Yeah.
So a 2 hour lunch. So really nice. He was a lovely fella actually. He did us some really good glass. But it's just getting used to that type of thing, like a 2 hour lunch break, for example, and things like that we're not quite getting. And we did have a nice coffee and a cake though.
We did, yep.
So it was nothing to complain about really.
Yeah.
We're not. Yeah, point that out.
We're not complaining.
We're not complaining.
We're just saying we need to get used to a different pace.
I think so. We have to be up early in the morning, get out, and then be back for our manana at about 12 o'clock lunchtime, maybe. Yeah.
Instead of going out at 11 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah, we normally leave about 11. Well, we normally leave about 10:30. But when we go to the main city or the biggest town where we get our shopping from, and we leave about 10:30 usually, don't we, to 11, dependent. And then, but it takes us half an hour to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 11 o'clock by the time we get there. Then it becomes 12 o'clock when we've done a shop or two. Yeah, that's it. It's just the way it is, really.
It is.
I'm just going to get that light that blew in.
Just flew across the room. It's also, as well, you're learning where to buy things again.
Yeah.
So back in the UK, you would know where you could go to get your glass cut for your windows, or where you would, get some, I don't know, car fuses or guttering or whatever, and you would also know how to ask for it, because that's also caused some confusion of odd bits and bobs.
Odd bits and bobs. Google Translate doesn't always give you what you need.
Doesn't always give you exactly. No.
Can be a bit confusing. You think you've got it, and you think, I'm proud of myself, and I found it on Google Translate, and I say the word, and they're like, don't know what it means.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because you've not got an accent or a
possibly.
whatever.
Yeah, possibly. Not quite sure, but yeah, the language obviously is a thing, but people are really not really embracing that.
Yeah,
if we try
and a lot of people do speak English, and a lot of the big shops have at least one or two people who have excellent English.
It seems.
And are really friendly.
Yeah, it does seem to be the case, doesn't it? We were looking for some guttering today.
Yes.
And there was a lady who knew exactly what we were talking about in the shop.
And so the lady on the checkout, we were trying to explain what we wanted, and she was looking quite blankly, and then she looked over to our friend, and our friend was like, I know, yes, come and I will show you where it is.
Yes.
And so off they went, her and Darren, and then 2 minutes later came back because we couldn't find it because they've run out. You see? Yeah. So we have to go back next week, and hopefully they will have more stock.
Yeah.
But then we all just laughed about it. Between us when...
and really it's not a problem. We've got enough jobs on anyway. We've done a temporary fix for the guttering.
Which we may or may not show you.
we are doing a temporary fix, but anyway, yes, so it's just that little bit slower, a little bit easier life. But as you said, it's kind of knowing in the UK, for example, you know where to go and buy something, and if you can't go to a specific shop, then you go onto amazon.co.uk, don't you?
You do.
I did. So I'm really struggling with the fact that I haven't got Amazon at
He's having some serious withdrawals.
Serious withdrawals, because it is becoming difficult to find the little things that you might need.
Yes.
I'm trying to source just some solar cable to connect a solar panel to a battery. Just a piece of cable. Simple enough on Amazon, hundreds, well maybe not hundreds, but tens of cables that I could buy. But here it's sourcing somewhere where it actually sells that. And that's not so easy. We do have Amazon, having said that, we do have Amazon Spain.
Yes.
We got a delivery today from Amazon Spain, so I am learning a little bit about how to do that. And that worked a treat, didn't it?
That worked a treat, yes. And then we got to see our lovely postman who waves every time he goes past, whether he has post for us or not. So, really good. Yeah. But the other thing that also takes time that I've noticed was just doing everyday normal things. So we've made a decision to move here and to live this life, and we're just getting on with it and embracing it. But if you just want to make like a pizza for tea, I found a pretty decent way to do it now that we have our cooker. So I can buy a pre-made pizza base and then just make my tomato sauce and everything. But because I haven't got a lot of space, when you haven't got work surface, so you have to put one thing here, And then Darren comes along and he'll just go, I'm just going to do this, this and this. And he's filled up my workbench because it's only a metre long.
I've only filled it up with a cup.
Well, and a dog lead and a this and a that and a screwdriver and what have you.
Right.
You know. But it just things that you just take for granted just do take a longer time.
Yeah.
So,
They
but
do.
I think the end result is always, we're always happy with the end result, aren't we?
Well, I think so, because I think that I was thinking about it today when we were driving back, even though we'd probably spent 4 hours today just going into Castello Branco, even though we'd spent 4 hours doing that, we did buy a lot of bits and bobs that will now solve a lot of little problems that we've had.
That will then make the next job easier.
Yeah.
And then that will make the next job easier.
Yeah.
So
we still got those solved. Almost, we haven't done the job, so we got the parts to solve those problems. But also, it was better than just doing nothing because we were just driving around anyway. So we may as well just enjoy the day, really. So yeah, it was nice. And I think we were talking about the shops and Amazon and all of that, which we have discovered the China shops, the Chinese shops. They call them the China shops. There's the China Star, I think it's called, isn't it? And the Hyper China.
Yeah.
And I think one shop.
Several other versions.
Several other versions of China. And we've discovered one. I can't remember what it was called, but I think it was called something like "We Sell Everything" or something like that. And so actually, with learning what they sell is a really important thing because honestly, they've got everything. They are like Amazon. In a shop. You wouldn't honestly, if you've not seen one of these shops, and they are hyper, as in one of them's on 3 levels, isn't it? I say huge, it's big, it's a big shop. But they sell anything from fuses
to furniture, to
bras,
sweets, to an array of bras,
to fishing equipment.
Paint, going fishing.
Car stuff.
Absolutely.
Fuses. Have I said fuses?
Yeah.
Tools.
Pots and pans and ice boxes. And
which we got a good ice box. So
craft stuff.
Rows of craft stuff.
It must be the craftiest place in the whole of the world.
The amount of craft stuff you can get. And I can't honestly think of anything else. There's just so much. But it is quite intense.
It's quite mind-blowing. Yeah.
It is quite mind-blowing and intense. But it is something that we're coming to learn about a little bit now, which is quite nice that we can get lots of stuff there. And you can get it quite cheaply as well, because I bought a couple of things from a car shop, for example, or from a DIY shop. I've now seen them there, and they're a bit cheaper. So not everything's cheaper though, having said that. But so embracing the time it takes to walk around one of these China shops is a thing that we're also doing at the moment, because it can take a while just to walk around one. Yeah.
Another thing that I noticed is just in normal everyday interactions. So you've seen about the chairs. We got 2 comfy chairs off Facebook Marketplace from a lady in the village, just a short drive away. And in the UK, you message the person on Facebook, you go along, you have a look. If you're happy with it, you pay for it, you pop it in your car and you drive away. But because we knew in the area, the lady was like, come on in, had a good chat, where are we from, where they were from, about family, having a coffee, get the biscuit tin out, then it's a tour of the farm. And then after a couple of hours, it's like, oh yeah, you came to get the chairs. By which time we then realised that we didn't have any money.
Yeah. That was really nice.
So she was just like, oh, well, just pay us next time you go past. So we popped the chairs in the back of the van and just came home with them. Yeah. So we'd been there for a few hours. She'd been very sociable and hosted us. And then we had to go back to Pier, and it all happened again. Yeah. So by which time she'd been chatting to somebody else who was fairly new. So it transpires that we're all probably going to go out for a meal at some point shortly. Yeah. So going back just to give her the money for the chairs turned into another couple of hours.
And I think it turned into some eggs.
Oh yes, and then we got some eggs.
Some eggs from her farm. Yeah. So yeah, there's that as well, isn't there? There's like here's a dozen eggs. Yeah. So yes. So sorry about that. Another glitch. I thought we were organised, but we're not getting there at the minute. So so where were we? What we were talking about? So getting eggs and meeting people, which is absolutely lovely. Yep. It's a lovely way to for everything to be a bit slower.
Absolutely. Anyway. Yes. Yeah. Taking Max for a walk, and I've met the lady who lives at the bottom of our village a couple of times now, and just sort of having a talk with her. Lots of sign language and sort of understanding, but we have a lovely chat. And then when you've finished meeting that person and you move on to continue on with your walk, then you meet somebody else and they go, oh, hang on a minute, and their husband runs out and gives you a dozen eggs. So you just embrace a different different pace of life, which is very nice and very welcome.
It is.
Yeah.
So,
on a slower pace of life, I think we're gonna, So this video, this PipsCast, has been full of technical issues, even though I thought everything was set up. Max being he's not a technical issue. Too technical, yeah.
Goodness me. But anyway, here we are. We've still got a bit of light, so hopefully you can still see us, but it will be off in a second. But we'll call this PipCast to an end.
Yep.
And we hope you enjoyed it, just joining us here for a bit of a chat about what we've been up to in the last week. And our normal video will still be out as normal on Saturday. So the plan is to send out a PipsCast on a Thursday.
Yep. I
think we decided, and to do our normal video on a Saturday. So hit the subscribe button so you get the notifications of when they're sent out. So this PipsCast is just an additional video each week to our normal video, which will be out this weekend, which I think I've said in many, many different ways now.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we will see you again
very soon.
Very soon. Thank you.
Bye.
There we go. See, lights off.
Lights off.
Perfect.
Time to leave.
Bye-bye.